Hey everyone, welcome to another Painting with Jay. As always, my name is Jay. So grab a brush, grab some models, grab some paints, and paint along with me. Let's rid our world of unpainted models. I am slowly but surely starting to see the light, at least with Space Marines. It's been fun. So I'm done all my Primaris Marines that were in the Shadow Spear box set. And now I'm painting Primaris Marines that were in the Dark Imperium box set, which is fun. So another, 20-something Marines to paint up, which is great. I'm going to have a good amount of Space Marines for my Primaris army. So I'll keep painting that. As always, a huge shout out to Cody Rue. Adam, I'm sorry, but you missed a spot. Let's get started. Yes. All right, hey everyone. So we're back. As you can see, I'm working on some Primaris Space Marines. And as you can see, not even close to, well, they're work in progress. This is one of the sergeants. And yeah, so today I'm going to finish up the metallics. As you can see, I'm painting the metallics on these guys. I'll finish up on the metallics and then start doing a few shades. That'll probably take me up the whole video because the shades take a while. So let's put him down. I have 3 guys left, I'm pretty sure. Yep, with metallics need to be done. 1, 2, I thought there were 3. He's done. He's done. Maybe I only have 2. Oh, there we go. 3rd. Yeah. So right now I'm batch painting. I have technically 12, but I'm painting. Those are 13, but I'm painting 15 guys at the same time. But I'm saving 2 of them for miniature painting 101s. I think I'm just going to show how I'm painting the yellows. It is an adaptation of a tutorial that I've seen as well. I'll give credit to it as well, but I've taken my own spin on it. So yeah, I figured I might as well make a miniature painting 101 to help future, people who are painting yellow or yellow armor using glazes. And that way it'll, hopefully help more people. So I'm going to do 2 videos, one with an airbrush, one with a hand brush, just to show the 2 differences. And then, yeah. And then I think I might make a 3rd miniature painting 101, to be honest, about leather. I want to revisit my leather tutorial. I was just thinking about that the other day, and I think I might revisit some tutorials because I've, grown as a painter. Some of these were filmed like 5-6 years ago, right? Some even more. So it'd be good to revisit. So right now I'm just taking some lead belcher, and I'm painting the gaps in the armor, the backpack pieces, a bunch of parts silver, the guns, silver, so, yeah. And then what I'm doing is with these guys, I'm hitting them with a non-oil shade, and it makes it really dark. I like it. So, and I have all these guys on pins, because I'm doing I can make one on the basis as well. See, look at that. There's 4 weeks of miniature painting 101s that I can work on right now. So, yeah, I know there has been a lot of content lately. I've been really busy. And it's been a busy last few weeks. Last weekend was a long weekend in Canada. And I got a lot done around my house. I've been painting a lot, and my girlfriend and I just had some goals to do around the house, and so I put aside my painting for the weekend, and just to get some stuff done, right? It was a 3-day weekend, but we got a lot done around the house, and we needed to get some spring cleaning done. It's really sad that we're only doing spring cleaning like last weekend. It's almost June. But it hasn't been a decent spring. It really hasn't. It's been a very cold spring. So we wanted to get the gardens all fixed up, which we did. On Monday, we went and visited my girlfriend's parents for most of the day to help them out with their stuff that they need to get done at their house. Neither of her parents can lift a whole lot. So... and they're nice people, so I'll help them out. So, but so yeah, it was a busy. I wasn't here most of Monday. So yeah, as I said, I'm slowly catching up. But these guys are coming along. As I said, I'm batch painting them, and I'm gonna have, my goal is to have all 15 done by next Painting with Jay. And so next Painting with Jay, I want to work on the captains and the lieutenants. No, sorry, captain, I guess, and the lieutenants, which there's 2 of them. So if I can have 15 of the 20, I think there's, what, 21 guys and 22 guys in this box set? Maybe not, maybe more. Let's see, there's 10 intercessors. Intercessors. 3 inceptors, or intercept, whatever they're called, jump back guys. So that's 13, 5 plasma guys, so 18. There we go. 2 lieutenants, 20, a captain, 21, and the ancient, so 22 guys. Plus, I still have to finish my ancient from my other box set, my original. I have one. If you've seen my army before, I already have a Dark Imperium box set. I never painted the ancient, so I'll probably paint both ancients at the same time. Yeah, have some fun with them. So that'd be good. Yeah. So I probably have a few more weeks of this box set, because I need, it'll take me about a week. So by next week I want to have the 15 guys I'm working on now done. The jump pack guys will take me half a week probably. The captain and lieutenants. So I'll probably be working on this for a few more weeks, this box set. And maybe not. If I have a little bit of time this weekend to paint, maybe I will get some more done. So it's all good. All good. I'm taking my time. I'm getting these things done, and it's really coming along. There we go. But so yeah, as I said, life is good. I'm painting away. I really should film more, I know, but I've been painting, and I'm really enjoying painting and getting my world ridden of unpainted models. And you only have so many hours in a day, so I've been painting instead of filming or editing, and I gotta get back to filming or editing. But oh well. I do have some videos. I have a couple battle reports with Dave that I really want to put out. One's mostly edited. I've been having issues with my computer as well. I'm gonna need to maybe clean up the computer. Probably need to replace one of the RAM sticks. Yeah. But that's okay. It's lasted me a long time. I've done a lot of editing on it, right? That's been good. And so yeah, as I said, I'm going to get back in editing. I will. I just really want to paint. And it feels good to have all these models painted, I think I'll be working on Space Marines for probably another 2 months, probably. That's okay. If I can have all my Space Marines painted by like August, that'd be a good goal. And then I'll start on my next army. I really want to flesh out my Space Marine, my vanilla Space Marine army, because I am painting them, right? So I might as well finish up all my vanilla Space Marines. I might even buy a model or 2 just to flesh out the army, and then we have some options. In case I want to bring these guys to like a tournament, I actually can keep up. Vanilla Space Marines aren't the be-all, end-all of the competitive scene, as you're probably well aware, unless you're running Gilliman spam. Right? It seems like Ultramarines are one of the few really, really competitive. Like, you can win a tournament with these guys. I'm not saying you can't. But if you went to an ITC/WAAC/ETC tournament with Space Marines, you better have a soup list, as they call them, or else you're going to get blown away. Most lists are designed to kill Space Marines easy. So, and with D, like D weapon, a lot of weapons that have D, he's done. D for done. It kills Primaris Marines pretty easy, right? Because a Primaris Marine dies with anything with D. Like, let's say a Luda, right? If a Luda shoots a normal tactical Marine, 4-up save, or else he dies, right? 1 to 3, he dies. Primaris Marine, same thing. 1 to 3, he dies. Doesn't matter that he's double wounds, because Ludas do 2 wounds, right? So they die pretty easy. Now they do have a lot of firepower, and they can, survive if you don't face a lot of D, but I do like, I like Imperial Fists. I've always been playing Imperial Fists for Vanilla Marines, and I didn't change it, obviously. They used to have something called Bolter Drill, which was, you had to reroll 1s to hit if it's Bolter. Now, obviously, since every captain gives that power, Imperial Fists ignore cover for purposes of armor saves, which is pretty fun too. So if you take this army, right, all my guys, it doesn't matter if you're in cover or not, you don't get it. And so you can really, some games you can really utilize cover. If you're on a board with a lot of cover, you can hide in cover, and your opponent can't. Well, they can, just it doesn't matter if they do, right? So it can be a kind of an equalizer, because you can improve your armor save. So again, a Space Marine in cover, this Primaris Marine, if he was in cover, would get a 2-up armor save if the weapon didn't have any AP, and if it's AP1, just, he'll get his normal armor save. But whoever he's shooting doesn't. That's kind of nice, So, what else do I want to talk about? The new paints. So GW, of course, made a bunch of announcements last week at Warhammer Fest in England, and wow, a lot of announcements. Let's go talk about the announcements, shall we? I might make a video of my thoughts on this as well. So obviously the big announcements, Contrast, which, as we said, wasn't the most surprising, because it was leaked a long time ago. Paint range. It is very similar. I'm out of paint, so I'm going to just refill my palette with, as I'm talking with Lead Belcher. But, I'm almost out of Lead Belcher. Okay, gotta buy more this weekend. Okay, there we go. So I have a little bit extra on my brush, so I'll just clean it with the model. Just use it to paint the model. Good. So, as I was saying, the paint sets, the Contrast was the first, one of the big announcements. There would be a Renegade Knights Codex, which is cool. You know what? The evil people have access to the Knights now. Works for me. It might help balance the meta. Heck, it might shift the meta into an insane direction. Is if, you can put all these knights, you can create a crazier chaos soup list now that you have access to, like if you get access to a chaos Castellan. And I still think Castellans are good. Now I'm going to be building a Gallant eventually, and I have a couple knights, and I don't have maybe I'll get a Castellan in the future. Not really interested at the moment. We'll see. But yeah, as I said, the Castellans are still going to be popular, as are the other knights with double shooting guns and shooting guns. But 15 minutes in, nice. As you can see, like these painting the metallics takes a lot of time. It really does. It takes me about 5 to 10 minutes per model. Of course, I'm talking during it too, which doesn't speed up the process. That's great. This is what this is for. We're painting together. We're ridding our world of unpainted models. So the new, as I said, there's the new Knight Army, which is cool. There is new vehicles. There's a new Primaris vehicle, which is good. I like that. The biggest, as I mentioned, the biggest problem with straight up Primaris Marines is they don't have a lot of anti-vehicle weaponry. They really don't. Not a lot of options, and it does look like the new vehicle is going to be a heavy hitting tank with a lot of guns. And since it's new, it should be, if they want to sell it, it's going to be good points costed. So cool. All right, it looks like a good heavy shooting vehicle. It just has to survive is the key. But at least it gives another Vanilla Marine. And as I said, I don't honestly feel, I know Vanilla Marines get a lot of love, but they're always meh. Like there have been occasional builds that are just nasty as heck, but you really had to, come up with a crazy list. Vanilla Marines are always good. They're always good. They're like right now they are nowhere near the best. In fact, I was just reading an article on Frontline Gaming that they're ranking slowly but surely all the armies, and the Vanilla Marines are put in the middle of the pack, which is exactly where I feel they belong. They could win a tournament. They definitely can. Like I know my friend Dave has won a tournament, I believe, with Vanilla Marines, and or at least we tied in a tournament with Vanilla Marines. He was at Vanilla Marines. I had Orcs. But you can win the tournament with Vanilla Marines. You just have to bring a good list. But it's just tough because if your opponents have a lot of D, as I mentioned, you're D for dead. So them getting a new vehicle doesn't really make me angry. It gives a couple more options to make the Space Marines more viable. And again, Space Marines are a popular army, so if they can't win a game, nobody will buy them. I still think Orcs are better right now in the meta. Eldar, Imperial soup lists, Astra Militarum, So, what else? Knights are part of a soup list. Knights in general, no. Knights is part of a soup list, very good. Let's see here. So yeah, Imperial Knights for the Trader Knight, Renegade Knight, sorry, Renegade Knight Codex. I think that's cool. New AdMech vehicle. Okay, I liked it. A lot of my people in my meta hated it. I don't mind it. Looks cool. It does have a World War II troop carrier look to it, I feel. Like it does remind me of the opening scene of Saving Private Ryan, where they're coming in and getting mowed down on D-Day. But I think it looks cool. We'll see the rules for that. Again, AdMech don't really have a standard troop carrier unless you buy the Forge World. I think they have a drill thing. So, Yeah, let AdMech have a carrier too. That's cool. I don't know when or where that will come out, but that's okay. As I said, it's cool that they have another option. AdMech is not, a top tier army. It's good for a soup list, of course. Maybe I'm wrong. But, yeah. So again, not too upset by that. And then, of course, the paints. Right? The paints were, the big thing was the contrast paints. And it was cool. I knew that my friend Chris from Miniwargaming was in England. I didn't know why he was in England a while ago. And it was to try out the. He's actually in the video, as well as Sam Lenz. I don't really know Sam Lenz very well, but I've just talked to him a couple times at Adepticon. He's a very talented painter as well. But I know Chris. And last one. Here we go. So they brought them there to try out the new contrast paints. What do I think of the new contrast paints? A lot of people have asked me that. I think they're cool. I'm going to try them out. Now, I am curious about a couple things. Number one, there's a huge range of colors, which is awesome, but that can be overwhelming. I want to know what colors do I need for my certain armies. Like if I wanted to paint a normal yellow for Imperial Fists, what color would I use? Dark Angels, right? What color would I use? And so I'm hoping that they come out with something, a guide, or, like whenever you buy if you go on their website, you want to buy Dark Angel stuff, it'll show you what colors you need. So I'm hoping that appears in some way, shape, or form, because I think there's a lot of colors and it could lead to like people painting the wrong yellow, because there's like 3 or 4, it looks like there's a few yellows. A more golden yellow, a brighter yellow, But it's a very cool concept. Now, as I said, it has been done by other companies, Army Painter. But I think it'll be good. It'll help people rid their world of unpainted models. Will I use them? Maybe. Like, actually use them for my army? Maybe. I have to get to that point where I really just want to do a one-color coat. And they don't look bad at all. But they look like they're very similar. The old inks. But I don't know. We'll see. Like they would actually been very good if I just wanted to paint my vanilla Marines. That would have been the army to use these for. Or my orcs. But again, paint them already. If I do like to paint to I consider a tabletop standard, a semi-good tabletop standard. And I don't, and I'm not discouraging. I think that you can pull off some great effects, and I think that if you really want to paint a whole army quickly, I think that they're the way to go. I just don't know if I want to paint an army that quickly. We'll see. If I will really just want to paint an army quickly and get them on the tabletop or into a tournament, that would be really cool. And I really think it's a cool new tool for our painters' tool belts. That you have something that you can essentially paint really quickly, one coat per color. In essence, like if you're painting Space Marines, you will blast through them. Again, if I was painting the one army I would have used them on, if I was to do it for a whole army, would probably be Vanilla Marines, because they're smooth, they're nice, and the lines are easy. And here, let me just make sure that that's in focus. I think it is. Yeah, it is. So it's a nice and smooth army. It would work really well with this army, which is why I think that they use Primaris Marines to show all the paints off in England. They're cool. And the huge paint color line, I think with other armies like certain fantasy armies or Age of Sigmar armies, they'll look really cool. Like the Seraphim, not Seraphim, what are they called? The alligator people. I don't remember what they're called. That's okay. There we go. So, Yeah. As I said, maybe I'll try painting up a whole squad like them. It'd be a time saver, you know. And as I said, for a lot of us, we have a lot of unpainted models, so maybe we want to blast through 'em. I think it'd be good. Like if I was just doing one color per area, I could paint a squad of 10 Space Marines easily in an afternoon. A couple hours, probably. Now, apparently, they do take a little bit of time to dry. They take more time to dry than the normal paints, which is why I'm thinking about my time frame. It is a little humid where I live, so I can't, you know, it does. I do have to wait for things to dry. But yeah, I'm gonna try them out for sure. The next thing I'm kind of curious though about these paints is how reliant are they on the primer? Now there is a primer coming out with them. I'm not a big fan of using spray can primers. I don't use them. I use Steinores primers. Right? I use Steinores primers. I live by Steinores primers. I put that on everything. Like for these guys, I painted them with white Steinores primer. And I just got to get more paint. I run out of paint again. I'm trying to use less and less paint on my palette so that I don't waste much anymore. Waste less, you know, waste not, want not. Isn't that the expression? I think. And so, I'm not a big fan of the spray can primers. So I'm kind of curious, how do you have to use that one color? Is the paint, you know, can I just use a white primer? Do I have to use their new, I think it's like a bone tone, like a slightly warmer white, a slightly warm off-white, I mean, primer? It has to be white because you have to take it, you know, it has to be to take advantage of the colors, but, or close to white. That's what I'm saying. I don't know. Do you have to use it for the paints? Because if so, I'm going to be a little discouraged, to be honest, because I live in Canada, right? So 4 or 5 months a year where I live, it's too cold to spray can primers. Or it's too hot. Like they're very finicky for where I live. So I'm a little curious, as I said, how dependent, if I can just use a white primer, which I would use Steinores white primer with my airbrush in a heartbeat, can I just use that and would I still get similar results? If so, I'm going to love these paints, I think. And I'm definitely going to give them a fair try. I'm going to try them out on a couple conditions and see how they do. You know, as I said, I would, if I knew that they were coming out a long time ago, maybe I'd push the Primaris Marines a little further out on my painting schedule and focus on an army that I wouldn't, like, as I said, I could just do one color for each area. And cool, Bob's your uncle, you know? That would be a really cool thing to do. If you want to just knock out an entire army, again, like you don't care about going to a higher tabletop standard. You just want to go to tabletop standard. You want to get ready for a tournament. You're an army painter, as they call them, not a competitive painter. This paint set I think will be really cool. As I said, I'm being optimistic. I really am. GW paints have increased in quality over the years, I feel. And they're slowly enveloping other painting markets. As I said, like they have airbrush paints now. They have these paints. They're trying to be the one-stop paint shop, basically, for miniature painting. Yeah, cool. Another one done. So that's the metallics. I'm gonna try them out. I'll go to my store, spend $50, buy 10 paints, and bring them home and just try out some colors. maybe I'll have one army that will just be my quick tabletop standard army. You know, see how fast I can paint an army and just go for it, you know? That'd be kind of cool. I do think it'll help rid our world of unpainted models. And that's the purpose. That's awesome. Another one done. Good. So now let's hit up some things with some shades. I'm going to take some Reikland Flash Shade and do the leather. And then I'll do some red. And then if I have time, I'll do a trim, an edge shading for the blacks. But based on the amount of time we have today, we'll see. There we go. Look at all the leather. And as I said, the way that I'm painting these guys, it's based on a tutorial I saw on Instagram, I think. But I've adapted to make my own. I've added a couple colors, different colors as well. But it just kind of gave me the idea of trying to paint these models as a whole, not one area at a time. I used to just paint one color, followed by another color, followed by another color. You know, do all the yellow armor first, right? And then do all the brown, all the reds, and then all the brown areas, and you know. But I'm trying this, so it gets cool. So by the time I do the glaze to make these guys yellow, I'm almost done, right? Because I've done all the primary colors. I hit all the areas with shades, and then I start with a couple highlights to build up the bone tones to a white. Hit it with the glaze, and that's what I just did. So let's go here, grab the next one. Shading is a lot faster of a step, as you can see. So yeah. What was I saying? And then, so now I'm just trying this. So I've already, once I'm done the glaze, I'm actually pretty far along. And then I just do highlights over all the areas. This guy would be the one I use for the leather tutorial because there's a lot of leather on his belt. So I haven't painted him yet. That guy. But I enjoy this. It's kind of cool because you trick yourself into thinking that you're not as far along as you are. Because for me, I'm used to doing the armor first, right? That's the first step that I would always do because that's the primary color of this model, right? And I don't do that anymore. So by the time, as I said, by the time the armor's done, I'm just in highlight territory, and then I paint the eyes. In this case, I'll have to paint the guns, the plasma guns, afterwards as well. Get them done. Maybe I'll just do a quick airbrush, or just a quick dry brush, right? But there we go. He's done. He's done. Next one. Here, I'll move my paint pot so I'm not constantly crossing over the shot. There we go. Cool. next one done. Down there. Luckily, the way that these guys are positioned, all the leather's in the back, so I can kind of just lay them down. Yeah, as you can see all the bodies in the background. So, I'll get these guys done to, that's it. By next week, I definitely want to be working on the captain and lieutenants. If I'm not painting them next week, it means I've gotten a little extra time and I finished them. These guys will be done. I'm going to make it my goal over the next week to make sure that these ones are done. Because that is, again, a huge amount of models now available. If I want to film a battle report with Vanilla Marines, if I want to take them to a tournament, they are available. And then I'll paint a few vehicles. I have like a Vindicator. I have a couple smaller vehicles, like a Rhino and a Razorback. I might paint those as Grey Knights, to be honest, because if I'm bringing Primaris Marines over Vanilla Marines, other than it gives you an extra las cannon in a Razorback or something, but not much you can do with a Razorback. I'm guessing Razorback and Rhino sales have tanked. No pun intended. That's actually no pun intended, I honestly. That's a terrible pun, wow. But not intended, I actually didn't think about that. Anyway, Jay, you had to have thought about that. Sometimes I make puns so easily, I astonish myself. I'm like, oh, that's a bad pun. I didn't even think of that pun. So we'll get the brown areas done today for the shade, and then I'll start on the reds if I have time. I'm painting only for 35 minutes, so I think I should have enough time. And then we'll adjourn for the week. Cool. There we go. Look at that. These guys are. Come on. There we go. He's done. I think I've already done them. Maybe not this one. I don't want to be like Adam and miss a spot. There we go. So yeah, life's good. As I said, I'm been really busy. Just really busy with work and life. And the hobby's really taken a side in the last couple months. It's been tough. But it has to sometimes, right? It's all priorities. I'm gonna grab this guy. And that's okay, right? I'm still loving painting. I haven't hit a wall or anything. People are asking me, like, have I stopped painting for a bit? Nope. I'm still painting up a storm. I'm just haven't been able to film as much. I'm finding myself like with half an hour or 20 minutes at a time to paint, so it's not enough time to film a painting with Jay, That's okay. Look at that, another one done. But yeah, not too. That's good. Just really busy and working on some goals, and it's gonna be a good summer. Peterborough Music Fest just announced their their concert lineup. To be honest, I'm not the biggest fan of the lineup this year, but I'll still go to most of the concerts. It's a free concert, really can't complain. Done. Dun 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 dun. All good. Dun dun dun. Dun dun. Not done. He's not going to get done. Perfect. So let's do the Reds. Now, before I start in the Reds, I think there was one model. There he is. There was one model I didn't paint the red chest piece. So let's get that done first. So I'm just going to take some Lamy Medium and some Carroburg Crimson. Not Carroburg Crimson, sorry. Mephisto Red. Let's paint him quickly. So far they've only announced about 2/3 of the bands for Music Fest. Now, if those who don't know, or are watching this for the first time, or haven't heard me talk about Music Fest at Peterborough. So where I live in Peterborough, there's a free concert series. It is literally free in the summertime, and it's the big thing. And so in the summertime, every Wednesday and Saturday for about 2 months, it starts the last week of June. It goes to the last week of August. There's a concert. And the bands aren't bad. Usually, they're not bad. They're usually Canadian artists past their prime, or up and coming. But the bands that you can see at Music Fest are pretty good, and as a lot of them do end up becoming big bands, or they were big bands in the '80s and '90s. So as I said, I can't complain. I've seen a lot of good artists there. A lot of Canadian bands, of course, like I Mother Earth, Our Lady Peace, Philosopher Kings, Terry Clark, who's a country singer, Chad Brownlee, who's a country singer, Tom Cochran, Randy Bachman, who else? Starship was last year. That was pretty funny. Alan Doyle from Great Big Sea, Strumbellas, again, tons of bands. This year, it's a lot of bands that are, there we go, so he's done, yes. So this year, there's a lot of bands that are repeats from previous years. In fact, all the ones announced so far have performed at Music Fest in the past. The bigger names are like Chaos. He's a Canadian rapper. He sings Crab Bucket. Some of the other big names are, it's the one guy from City and Color / Alexis on Fire. Whatever his name is. Danny, something, forgot his name. But he's going to do an acoustic session. So an acoustic City and Color, yeah, it was one of them. City and Color session. I'm like, okay, cool. I think that'll be interesting. A City and Color session. Okay. So right now I'm taking my Carroburg Crimson and I'm going to do the Reds. But, okay. I'm like, okay. What else? A couple country artists that have been here in the past. Chad Brownlee and the Reclaws. They're Canadian country artists that, again, they've both done Music Fest before. In fact, the Reclaws did it last year. And the year before that, I'm pretty sure. Maybe 3 years ago and last year. Let's see. Those are pretty much the big names. Like 5440, a Canadian rock band from the early 90s. Crash Test Dummies. Also a Canadian folk rock band from the 1990s. They had 2 songs on the soundtrack for Dumb and Dumber. Let's put things in a time perspective for when the Crash Test Dummies. But that's okay. I'll go see the Crash Test Dummies. I know they're a piece of Canadiana. They are. Actually, look at him now. So they're Canadian. And that's it. They're definitely a Canadian band. So I'll go see them. I'm really hoping that one day they get the Bare Naked Ladies or something. That'd be a good band. They're Canadian. They live just down the road. They come to Peterborough a lot. I think that'd be a big name. I'd see them. I'd totally go see the Bare Naked Ladies again. Do you have any plans for the summer? Not really. Just keep working, relaxing when I can, and yeah, get a lot painted, get a lot done around the house. I would love to have my, as I said, my Space Marine Army done well into the summer. You know, that'd be a good goal, because then I'll work on the next army. And yeah, we'll go from there. My girlfriend and I are planning a trip in the fall. How was your trip this fall? We're going to Nova Scotia in the fall. So we're probably going to fly there because it's going to be faster and not too expensive. The flights from Nova Scotia and Hamilton, we'll probably fly out of Hamilton. They're not that expensive. Not that expensive at all. It's so in some cases it'd actually be cheaper to fly than to drive, depending on gas. But in this case, it'd be pretty close. But you have to, you know, the benefit of taking your car is that you don't need to rent a car. But then there's also the three, you know, you're spending 2 days of your vacation driving to and from. That would be cool to do it if you wanted to, like, see Canada. But we don't have a lot of time, unfortunately. So we're just going to, we're going to fly. That's cool. We've been planning that trip. It's not going to be too expensive a trip. Last year we went to Europe. That was an expensive trip. This year is just a fun, cheaper trip. You know, my girlfriend really likes to travel, which is cool. I was never a big traveler, to be honest. You know, I didn't travel much. Never when I was married, really, other than I went to like LVO once. Yeah, wasn't ever. I drive to Gen Con and Adepticon. You know, I'm not going to go to Gen Con this year, I don't think, but I was never a big, like, you know, flying places. Again, the few times, like the time I went to LVO or my honeymoon were like 2 of the 3 times I've been on a plane, right? So I was never really a big traveler, but that's okay. As I said, I enjoy traveling. Of course, I enjoy traveling with my girlfriend. We have a good time. I get to see sites that I would have not normally seen. And so, yeah. And this one won't be a very expensive vacation. So it's nice. I've always wanted to see Eastern Canada because Canada's such a huge country, right? Like, again, it's huge. I've only been outside of the province to another province twice. One time to visit my friend Patrick, and one time was to see my former brother-in-law. Both times in Quebec, and yeah, which was cool. But I've only seen Quebec. Right, I've not seen Alberta. Why do I want to see Alberta? Sorry, Albertans. Maybe one day, or Saskatchewan. But I'd really like to see Eastern Canada. So the Atlantic provinces. There are a few, like Nova Scotia, Newfoundland, PEI, Labrador. But I'm going to only go see Nova Scotia this year and maybe the other ones in the future. You know, This will probably be my last color of the day because I'm at 50 minutes into the video and I'm still working on reds. So we'll finish up with the reds here. And then I'm going to keep going. As I said, my goal is to have these guys done for next week's Painting with Jay. To have all of the these Primaris Marines, at least the 15 that I'm working on at the moment, done. And that way it's 15 more towards my army. And if I want, so I would like to bring a whole Primaris Marine list to a tournament, or maybe a soup list. I've never done a soup list, but just to have some fun, bring one of the cheaper knights. You know, some Primaris Marines, maybe like a Vindicare Assassin. That'd probably be a little competitive. Yeah. Next one. Not done. Nope. So, yeah, as I said, it's been good. Life's keeping me busy. But life's been good. Where else? Sports-wise, hockey. It's Blues versus Bruins in the Stanley Cup Finals. I'm cheering for the Blues because they have a good story. They were in last place in like the league this first day of the year. And now they're in the Stanley Cup Finals. That's awesome. Basketball, the Western Conference has already been decided. Of course, the Golden State Warriors, as always, it's like their 5th year in a row. Come on. For the first time in a long time, LeBron James is not in the NBA Finals. LeBron James didn't make the playoffs, in fact. But that's kind of interesting. Probably next year, when they get Kawhi Leonard from the Raptors. But the Raptors are currently still in the playoffs. It's in the Eastern Conference. It hasn't been decided yet. It is currently Raptors versus Bucks, and it's 2-2. So we'll see what happens. Well, by next week it'll be done, I guess. Next week's Painting with Jay, we'll know who are in the NBA Finals. And so the NHL Finals start next week, and the NBA Finals, I think, start late next week. Because the Raptors and Bucks can still play for another 5 days if they made it to like a Game 7 scenario. So, yeah. So NBA Finals will have to wait till after someone wins or loses. Basketball definitely seems much more predictable than hockey. Probably because the playoffs get, the way that they look, playoffs are actually best team versus worst team that makes the playoffs on each side, versus hockey where it's the wild card / division breakup. And this year's for hockey has been much more unpredictable. So there we go. So I'll pick a random guy. This is what we've done now. So after today's video, I've done the shading. The silvers are done. The browns have been shaded. I'm going to have to do an edge shading for in the recesses and the silvers, which that takes me about 5 minutes per model as well. That'll take me a couple more hours to do because I said maybe an hour, but I have 13 guys right now on the table in this stage. Plus I'm starting to work on the other 2 dudes that I'm going to be filming miniature painting 101s with. So this is the current stage. Next week they'll be pretty much done. I just need to paint, the shading, highlight up, another edge highlight, glaze, and then highlight up and clean up all the other colors. But cool, that's where they're at. So we'll see where they're at next week. I'll have them in the background, and we'll end now. So that concludes another Painting with Jay. I hope you got some work done and you're slowly ridding your world of unpainted models as well. It's fun. As I said, I'm starting to see empty shelf space, and that's what I want to keep going with. My eventual dream is I would love to buy a model and paint it with no guilt about having models and waiting in the wings. That's a pipe dream of most miniature painters, but one day I think I'll be able to get to it. I'm hoping, at least. We'll see. So stay tuned for more Painting with Jay. And as always, thank you so much for painting, subscribing to my channel, and supporting my videos. And as always, this video is brought to you by my Patreon campaign. Link in the description below if you want to help support my videos. Huge thank you to all my Patreon subscribers. It's because of them that I can set aside some time during the month to film these videos. So a huge thank you to them. So stay tuned for more Painting with Jay. Until next time, it's Jay saying happy painting with me.